Welcome back to the channel. The NHL draft is tomorrow, and one of the biggest questions I think everyone really has is who is going number 2? Everyone knows that number 1, Alexis Lafreniere, is going to the New York Rangers. They won the draft lottery for the second year, and so they're going to get another superstar player there. But who's going number 2? For the longest while, everyone kind of assumed it was going to be Quinton Byfield from the Sudbury Wolves. Eventually, as the year kind of progressed, Timothy Stützle from Mannheim in Germany began to kind of crawl his way up the rankings, and so there's been a little bit of a debate as to who's going to go number 2. Personally, I'm a fan of the OHL, and I've had a chance to watch Byfield a couple of times now, and he completely blows me away. So, I think he is going to go number 2 to the Kings. They're going to get another franchise center, just like they did with Kopitar, and they're going to have that 1-2 punch down the middle. But we're going to see how good he can be right now. We've set up a rookie sim like we did with Askarov on the Sens just to see how good Quinton Byfield can be in his first year. We can see here, team leader points. Byfield is the best player on the team. That's because we've got him at a 99 overall, just like Askarov. He's centering the first line in almost every other single, line in the roster for the Kings here. The 6'4", 214-pound, had to make him a little bit older just to get him on the team. But we're going to take a look here and see how good he can do, as just like with the Sens, the Kings are one of those teams that really do deserve a top pick. You can see here Kopitar, and the rest of the team is looking pretty rough. Jeff Carter and Dustin Brown's best days are behind them, and some of these guys have potential. Prokhorkin, Lazat's not too bad, Kempe, Iafallo, Wagner, but they are pretty young still, and so this is a team that could use some help, and a big boost is going to come from Byfield. We are going to sim to the halfway mark and see how he matches up against the rest of the rookies from this past year's draft and how he's doing against the entire NHL as a whole. So we're going to sim to game 42 and we'll see you then. So after 41 games, the Kings aren't dead last in the league, but they are doing pretty rough. They're only on pace for 74 points. They have 15 wins in 41 games. But as we saw with the Sens and Askarov, one player can only do so much. And if you take a look here, team leader in points, Quinton Byfield, he's trying his best. We can take a look here at the stats. 37 goals in 41 games, 205 shots for Byfield. And you can see here, the 18% shooting percentage, 16 power play goals, 18 power play points. He's the one that's letting it rip on the power play. But we can see here, Anze Kopitar is doing well, Drew Doughty's doing pretty good, Jeff Carter and Dustin Brown, but as we mentioned before, those guys are getting older, and so the young guys just haven't been able to take that step up. If we take a look at goaltending there, Jonathan Quick, the 908 save percentage, the 2.90 goals against average. And you can see here, Cal Peterson, 3-6 and 3, that's a little bit rough. And so that kind of explains a little bit why the Kings aren't winning as many games as they could be. But as I mentioned there, Quinton Byfield is doing his best. We'll take a look and see how he's matching up against the rest of the league, though. I'd say he's probably doing pretty good. Second in the league in scoring behind Jess Stamkos, and in terms of goals, he is first. It's him at 37, Stamkos at 31, and then Tarasenko is at 26. And so, while Stamkos might be 4 games behind, he has a chance to catch up, actually. It looks like Byfield is one of the top players in the league at 99 overall in his first year. And so, this could be a big boost for LA in the future if they do end up drafting him tomorrow. So they're able to get that superstar center. He's a big guy and he looks pro ready. So if he can keep this up for the rest of the year, we'll be able to take a better look at how he does actually match up against the rest of the NHL, because right now, at least for rookie skaters, he is blowing the competition out of the water. Sam Steele 28 points, Capo Caco 27, Philip Zadina 23, but Byfield is leading the way. And across the whole NHL, he's only second in the league in scoring. If he's able to finish out the rest of the season strong, the Kings might have a great player on their hands moving into the future if they do take Byfield tomorrow. We'll send the next 41 games, and at the end of the year, I'm not sure the Kings are going to make the playoffs, but we'll have a chance to look and see just how good Quinton Byfield is after 1 year. So after one full season, the Kings are 36, 33, and 13, which, quite frankly, for them isn't even that bad. We can see here, they didn't finish worst in their division. They almost made the playoffs, 85 points, 87 was the cutoff there. So just like the Sens, the rookie leading the way, and you can see here, Quinton Byfield, 110 points in 82 games, 77 goals. The LA Kings, 36, 33, and 13, finished 5th in the Pacific Division. just barely behind Vegas for that last playoff spot. And again, just like the Sens, if they were in a different division, they would have had a chance at making the playoffs. I'm thinking Minnesota, Dallas, and Nashville, being able to play against those guys night in and night out, instead of the Arizona Coyotes, who finished with 110 points, might have made things a little bit easier. We'll see how they stacked up against the rest of the NHL, though. And now keep in mind they had 85 points, so probably kind of middle of the pack there, just below actually, 20th in the league. But mind you, this is a team that won the lottery, and kind of deservedly so. They finished with above 50% for points percentage, goals for, they were towards the top of the league, around the middle half, the kind of top there. Goals against average here, they're kind of in that middle spot again. That weird balance of being just 3.04 goals for per game, 3.02 goals against per game. So kind of a coin flip depending on how they were going to do night in and night out. Power play percentage, they were great. 25.8% was the Toronto Maple Leafs, 24% for the Tampa Bay Lightning, and 22.6% for the LA Kings. Despite finishing 20th in the NHL, they finished third in power play percentage. Penalty kill percentage now, 81.7%. That's not terrible. It's not great, but kind of middle of the pack, and that's kind of the general theme for this Kings team. But one player who was certainly not middle of the pack was Byfield. You can see here 110 points, Kopitar 93, Drew Doughty 83, the defenseman over a point per game, Jeff Carter, was 48, Dustin Brown 47, and as we mentioned before, those are kind of leaders of this team, despite being a little bit older. 404 shots for Quinton Byfield, 19% shooting percentage. Oh my goodness, 35 of his points on the power play. He has been an absolute monster. And he wasn't even first on the team for forwards in terms of ice time. He was second behind Kopitar, who played more than 2 minutes more per game than him. But we'll see how he matches up against the rest of the rookies in the NHL. I think this one might be a bit of a landslide. Number 2, Sam Steele, with exactly half of his point total, 55 points, Zadina 53, Nylander 49, Capo Kakko 48. And so, a bit of a landslide there. Again, 77 goals for Byfield. The rest of the NHL, he is first, Pasternak's second, Bergeron's third. And in terms of goals, I think this one's a bit of a blowout. 77 for Byfield. Stamkos was kind of neck and neck with him at the halfway mark there. He only had 48. So that second half of the year for Quinton Byfield, he was determined to try to bring the Kings to a playoff spot. But unfortunately, it looks like his teammates could use some more help around them. And we see tomorrow, if the Kings do draft Byfield, they're going to get a superstar center. And I think most people would agree with that. Now it's just kind of finding the rest of the pieces for that franchise. As we mentioned before, some of these guys do have some promise. They have some great prospects coming up, and it's just going to be a matter of finding the rest of the pieces for this team before the Kings can get back to that dominance we saw in the early to mid 2010s. I am super excited for the NHL draft tomorrow, and if you watch to the end of the video, leave me a comment below. Let me know who you think the Kings are going to draft at number 2. If you liked the video, leave a like and possibly even subscribe. It's a huge boost for the channel. It's a great time to be a hockey fan out there, and I'm super excited to see what the 2020-2021 NHL season looks like.